Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to coyssoutherneats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And everybody, welcome to another edition of the Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk here on Hogville.net YouTube Live. I want to thank our sponsor, Coy's Southern Eats. Come rediscover the magic of Coy's. Come get you some. And also want to thank Pixabay for the music and also John James for all of the shots that he's provided for us as well on the opening. And Otis, we got a lot to unpack today, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to unpack. I'm trying to unpack two things as I talk to you. I was trying to get the Tay stuff up. Had Tay Lockett on the Pig Trail Nation show today, and the story just came out, or the YouTube just came out, and then I was sharing this one as well. So trying to multitasking, and I'm challenged to walk and chew gum at the same time. So see how that worked out, man. I hope I got everything right, but whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
just chalk it up with another era.
Man, it's so crazy how things evolve. But when they do evolve, it happens slowly. But then whenever it finally takes effect, it moves really fast.
Yeah,
and that's where that's why I have a hard time with it too as well. And I know everybody does. But let's kind of unpack from yesterday. Arkansas won in a hard-fought second half, not so much hard-fought first half, 28-6 over a Kent State team that has made, I would say, a lot of improvement from week 1 to 2, but I don't know where Arkansas made that improvement as much as we might see coming into practice this coming week from Kent State to BYU.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jason. I was not one bit surprised with that performance history. That was what I kind of expected against Western Carolina. Arkansas just is not, for whatever reason, Sam has had a hard time getting his teams focused to play these type teams. They just have. Mm-hmm. Western Carolina was actually the exception. I mean, for the most part, they struggle against these teams, and it's almost like it's almost like they go through the motions. And I honestly, of all the answers yesterday on all the questions it was asked and everything, and there was a lot of good questions, a lot of good answers. But I thought KJ had the best one of all. He just said lack of focus. something to that extent. I mean, and the quotes are in the stories, you can find them, but an exact quote, but it was pretty much just lack of focus, and that's it. I mean, it's not.
That was on his opening remarks.
Was better than thought, or this and that. Arkansas was just not focused like they were the first week, and it did not surprise me that they came out that way. I was on a show Thursday night, and everybody was predicting 60 and 70 points, and I predicted 45. I said then I'm worried about the focus. As far as predicting score, I just didn't expect Arkansas to come out with the same intensity that they did against Western Carolina. This team just, for whatever reason, this team just does not do that. They play down. It's almost like they play down to the level of the competition at times, Jason.
Yeah, and that's one of the things as a Razorback fan that I hate to say that we've almost become accustomed to over the last 24 years is that we don't. You don't have that. I guess that mentality or that presence of going into the game saying, okay, we're going to dominate you. We're going to put our foot on your throat and we're going to impose our will on you. They kind of toy around with it. They understand, okay, yeah, we got 4 full quarters of football that we can play. Yeah. And of that, 1 or 2, we might be able to kind of slough off and kind of just go through the motions. And then when we need to, we'll just turn it on.
Yeah, that's frustrating to me. I mean, that and penalties frustrate me. Now, Arkansas only had 4 penalties, so I'm not talking about that yesterday. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about in general. I watched the first 30 minutes of the Colorado game yesterday before I went to the Razorback game, and they had like 3 or 4 penalties on the first drive. That stuff drives me crazy. And I'm not picking on Colorado. They're doing a great job. But what I'm saying, it doesn't matter who it is. Penalties drive me crazy, Jason. They really do. I thought Arkansas cleaned that part up yesterday. But, yeah, the lack of focus, and it was so predictable. I mean, I know what UCF did to Kent State the week before, but I will say this, and this is bouncing around, but, man, A.J. Green's got to get more touches. He just does. I mean, good things happen when he has the ball in his hands. Not so much when he and KJ have the ball in their hands. Good things happen. Not so much with the others. And it's just the way I feel about it. I've always felt like Rocket was 1A and AJ was 1B. I've always thought AJ was a lot better player than people gave him credit for. I'm a big AJ Green fan, and I think he's really good. And I'd like to see him get more touches. I know he got 15 yesterday, but I also know good things happened when he had the ball. And that's all I can say is the other 2 running backs had 17 carries combined, I think, for 42 yards. And he had like 82 yards on 15 carries. So I'm just going by what I see and what I've seen in the past. I did not like AJ returning kickoffs. I felt like he just ran straight. I didn't like that, but I do like him as a running back. I really think he's good, Jason.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've noticed too is that AJ Green's not one of those guys that you want to have run inside the tackles. You have got to get him outside of that tackle box. You got to get him the ball at the tight end spot and out either in the flat or in the boundary. Either one, it doesn't matter. You got to get him the ball where he can make some moves, not so much shifty, but be able to make straight line moves where he's able to create mismatches with the defensive back where they're able to take a bad angle on him. That's where he really accelerates the most, and really you see his talent at that point.
One of his most impressive runs was last year in the Liberty Bowl, that 20-yard touchdown he had. He smoked Kansas defensive ends, man. I mean, he smoked everybody on that side. They were there for the play, and he just left them. And that's the kind of speed he's got. I mean, Luke and Dylan's mother texted me right after that and said he did that. I mean, she knew how fast he was because she said they'd seen that over at Bixby. So, I mean, that's just the way that yeah, he's a good running back. I mean, I'm sorry I got off on that. Wasn't even what the subject.
You're good.
But no, I mean, I think that's part of it. I mean, I think when you're struggling with your intensity and stuff, get the ball in the. I mean, and they did. KJ ran the ball a lot more than they planned on it yesterday, and he makes good things. KJ always makes good things happen. Now he wasn't clicking in the passing game yesterday. Part of it was on him and stuff. Yeah. But you're going to have a game like that as a quarterback. But I just think that I loved his answer, though, to the question about what happened. Why was intensity not, why was the slow start? And I think he was brutally honest with it, man. I really do. We can say it was the lack of blocking or it was this or that, but
yeah.
And I'm not saying those things don't have to get better. What I'm saying was they just were not focused, man. They were not focused for that game, and it did not surprise me one bit.
And this is Sam yesterday, a little bit on offensive line and kind of some of the struggles that they were having.
Yeah.
KJ, but most of them were strictly for short yardage type situations. But we were ready for that, just obviously we didn't want to have to go to that, if that makes sense. The last drive was what we were anticipating would happen the entire day, where we're covering them up, moving them 6, 8, 4, 5, whatever it is at a time. It's frustrating right now for the kids, for the coaches, that we're not running the ball consistently, and we'll continue to work on it.
Well,
and that was a little bit of some of the, I guess you say, the frustration that Sam was showing to the media yesterday, and that they understand that, I don't think they really care. Fans are frustrated. All they care about is what's inside that locker room, and they're all frustrated just as much as we are. And one of the things that I kind of took away, and I've been thinking about this, Otis, I really have been thinking about this. We have become accustomed to Sam Pittman, his first and his second stint here. And Danny Enos is on his second stint here too. We are accustomed to seeing what they can do as coaches. Now you have to think about, you got a different set of kids now that they're coaching, and they're having to reacclimate themselves and remesh themselves together. It's been 2 games, and it's been a little bit of a bumpy road, but they're 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, they're undefeated, and they've allowed 1 touchdown in 2 games. So, I mean, I thought they really stepped up big, especially Poopaw and Landon Jackson and the rest of them on that goal line stand down there. First and goal is 2, second goal is 1, third and goal, fourth down. They didn't make it. So, I mean, it was just a deal. Yeah, Sam, talking about the best coach. Yeah, he's no doubt he's the best coach since Bobby Petrino. I mean, and when I say that they come out and lack focus under Sam, I'm not putting that on Sam. I mean, he can get into their brains. He does everything he can to get them motivated to play. It's a whole deal. I mean, I'm sure not putting it. And I'm not saying he thought I was. I'm just saying I'm not putting it all on Sam. Everybody's. I mean, it's just. I don't know, man. I think everybody's to blame some of it, but certainly the players got to be focused. And I mean, you can't make a person be focused. I mean, you just can't do it. I know Sam talked about that too. Talked about that Wednesday. Tuesday, his practice was going pretty slow, and he warned them. And that gave me an idea of what we were going to see Saturday, and we did. Now, yesterday he said all the practices were good, but I remember on Wednesday he was talking about the Tuesday practice was pretty bad for a while. But yeah, Sam's a very good coach. I mean, after, like I said, he's the best since Bobby Petrino. I mean, Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino, and him, 3 best coaches they've had since I moved up here in '97. Easily the 3 best. I love Danny Ford, but he wasn't. Yeah. In Arkansas, he didn't do the job those 3 did. But yeah. Sam, I mean, Sam does everything he can to get the kids ready to play, and they just have to get ready. But there's some blame for everybody to go around in a deal like that. I mean, but you can't put – I'm not one of those that ever puts everything off on the coach. I know some people do, but the coach can't go out there and play for you. And I know Sam warned them about that because he said so on Wednesday. I had that in a story, I'm pretty sure. I remember it in the press conference. I don't know. I think I wrote about it, but if I didn't, I should have. But that was my deal of 5 things that need to happen. That was number 2. And I almost put it number 1. Number 1 was run the ball better. But second was come out focused. That was my number 2 thing on 5 keys to win. And as I said at the time, they were going to beat Kent State. It wasn't so much how to win that game, but set the tempo and develop good habits for the future going forth when you do play better teams Jason. I mean, they're going to have the schedule gets tougher starting this week, and it'll get tougher after that, much tougher after that. But BYU's better than these two teams, and Arkansas should beat them at home, but they're going to have to play better than they played yesterday, and I think they will. But then again, they do have some issues they've got to get worked out in the running game. Although they did rush for 172 yards, I believe, off the top of my head yesterday, something like that. I wrote that this morning. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't run the ball. I mean, but the passing game's got to be better than it was yesterday too. It was, I mean, that first at one point there, I remember we were talking. They had 14 yards of offense, 7 running, and 7 passing. We were a little way into the game,
Yeah, that was through the first 3 or 4 series.
It wasn't like the passing game was just knocking them dead either, And so that was on KJ making bad throws. Jaden Wilson dropped a pass. I mean, and they're really good about catching balls, but there was one they dropped. I thought Armstrong, Isaac Tesla, Luke. I thought those three. I thought caught the ball really well. Jaden had a couple of catches there too, other than that one, But for the most part, I think you'll see a better product this Saturday, Jason. I mean, you would hope so because they played the same way against BYU as they played against Kent State. They'll lose, and I don't think they will lose.
One of the things that I took away yesterday from Sam's portion of the press conference was a new term that I have not heard before. I think, and it kind of got the room chuckling a little bit. Here's Sam talking a little bit about some Samalytics.
Go for it. The Samalytics says don't. And I went for it. And now, we went for it on 4th and 4 too, and we end up scoring. You know what I mean? But I told the team, I said, I thought we was going to make it, and I thought if we don't, I felt like defense would hold them for no more than a field goal. I didn't know they was going to push it back and make them punt.
Well, Sam beat himself up over going for that 4th down. Let me tell you something, Jason. I didn't think that was an issue.
Yeah.
I think they went for it. The one time that I did blame Sam, and I mean, this was the one I felt like was on Sam. Somebody can correct me if this is wrong, but I think he's needed to call. But when they had the run to the inches of the goal line, and he's wanting a review because I believe it was KJ. I think scored. They said he didn't. They said he got like to the 1 or 2 inch line.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I think it was KJ. Somebody Arkansas ran the ball. It got tackled just short of the end zone. The refs.
I think it was AJ Green that did that.
Okay, AJ, but it looked like he scored. Okay, but Sam's down there trying to get the referees to review it. All the while the clock's running, and he or KJ one there has got to call timeout. You have 3 timeouts. It's late in the second half or second quarter. I'm sorry. It's late in the second quarter. You got 3 timeouts. And they ended up to call 2 of them. They took one to the locker room, if I'm not mistaken, Jason. You've got to call time out there. They end up getting a 5-yard delay of game penalty. And then the bad snap, low snap, KJ gets it and finds Andrew Armstrong. So he bailed them out there. But that's the one I blame Sam for because if you're going to – and I don't blame him for asking for a review, but you've got 3 timeouts. You got to call time out there, man. Or somebody's got to call time out. You cannot take a delay game at the 2 or 3 inch line. You cannot do it. I know it worked out, but you cannot do it. The 4th down deal didn't bother me. I like an aggressive style. I mean, I felt like Arkansas's defense was good enough if you didn't, like Sam said, if you didn't make it, that the defense would hold them, and they did.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother me. And later they went for 4th down, and they made it. So I had no issue with the 4th down call. I know he beat himself up over that one, and that's Sam. He doesn't like to go for it his end of the field, and I don't think you want to make a habit of that, but it didn't bother me, the 4th down call. The one that bothered me was that delay of game penalty. I mean, I think it's Sam got to call time out there if it's not KJ, but somebody's got to call time out, and I blame them. I blame them for that. That cannot happen. You cannot take a delay right there. I don't care who you want to put the blame on, but it cannot happen. It's just that simple.
Yeah, because in that sequence, the next play was whenever there was a low snap that KJ had to pick up off the ground. He knew it was third down. He even talked about it in postgame.
Yeah.
He knew that he could not just fall on it, so that's why he scrambled around and luckily found Andrew Armstrong on one of his 2 touchdown catches on the day.
Yeah, and and like I said, he got bailed out there because KJ had KJ and Andrew had the knowledge to. KJ knew the situation, knew it was third down, couldn't dive on because they're going to kick a field goal if they do. It's going to cost them 4 points, and he picked the ball up, and Andrew did not quit on the play. He worked to get open. So yeah, it was great. KJ and Andrew bailed him out. I felt like they bailed Sam out on that one because that's the one I did blame Sam for. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what I watched. And if I'll praise Sam 99% of the time, but that was the one time I was critical of him. I just felt like you could not do that. You've got to take a time out there, and I didn't blame him for asking for a review because it looked like to me the guy scored. I don't know. Maybe it's short, but I can understand wanting a review of that. But you got to call timeout. It's late in the second quarter. You've got 3 timeouts. You haven't used one. And
might as well burn one to just
at
least look at it. So
if I'm not mistaken, they used 2 and then they burnt. They took one to the locker room, which is worthless. So there was no reason to make a delay there, Jason. Even if you only have 1 timeout left, you cannot get a delay. Take the time out there, and if then maybe the refs should have stopped it. I think they probably should have and had a review, but I put part of it on the refs. I think they should have stopped and had a review. That was close enough. I felt like it was close enough to definitely get a review there, and I understood why Sam was asking for one. As I said, you just can't take a delay, man.
No, and KJ talked about running a little bit more yesterday. Well, a lot more yesterday. We saw his first run of the season, and unfortunately, Alex Branch caught the business end of that one. We even talked about that upstairs a little bit, and also it was in the story that poor guy caught the business end of a KJ Jefferson run. And I don't, if I'm not mistaken, I'd asked a couple of people, and Branch didn't return to the game. I don't know if he had a concussion or just what, but or if he had shoulder. But KJ said he felt good, getting hit again and feel like he's back in that football mode.
Well, yeah, they wear those protective jerseys, which you've got to have your quarterback protected. It's the worst thing. The last thing you want to do is go out there and play a game because your quarterback got hurt in practice because you smashed him. I hear people griping about the quarterback not getting in practice, and that's the dumbest argument you can have. That's the last thing you want is to get your quarterback hit in practice and lose him. If you lose him in a game, that's part of football. That's football. Just like losing Rocket. That's football. But, man, you don't want to get your quarterback of all people hurt in practice just by teeing off on him. But if he gets hurt in the game, but, KJ, I'm thinking TJ Metcalf, I guess. I was talking about his dad yesterday, but dad and mom. But, no, KJ's got to KJ can run the ball. And he had to run more probably yesterday, than they planned. But that's part of it. And if that's what it takes to win the game, KJ said, hey, if that's what it takes to win, I'm doing it, and I'm paraphrasing. But KJ doesn't mind that. He doesn't mind getting hit, doesn't mind playing like that. And I see that when he first came over to Arkansas, I remember he used to lower his shoulder and just try to knock people out of the way. I've noticed KJ kind of slides now occasionally and also gets out of bounds. He's gotten wiser through the years, And I remember man, when he first came out there when Chad was the coach, and he just barreled people. He'd lower his shoulder. It's like, you deliver a lick, but you're taking a lick, man, when you lower that shoulder like that. And he got hurt. LSU, doing that.
Yeah.
And didn't play against Missouri up here, or maybe he's limited, but whatever. I'm just saying that. Now KJ's a great quarterback. He's not good when he's great. He's a great person, great player. I put my money on KJ every time, and I promise you this: I will win more times than I lose doing that. Him playing well. I'm talking about not necessarily win the game, but I'll put my money on KJ playing well, and I will be a winner a lot more than I'm a loser on that one.
Well, let's talk about the defense a little bit yesterday. I noticed that their aggressive style was something that they really were focused on. And Trajan Jeffcoat talked a little bit about that in postgame.
Try to be hard on us about the emphasis of pass rushing. We took heed of that, and we just grind at practice and took everything one day at a time. We come along for sure.
And so that was one of the points of emphasis on the defensive line this week that he was talking about, was being more aggressive. And you saw that, but almost to a fault, because you had your ends jetting up the side, up the tackle box. But then you had your interior linemen staying home, but they were burning you on that B gap, C gap area.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't know where Arkansas would be. And I just wrote a story for anybody that's interested. I know we had the story last time on defense, but I wrote an additional story because McLaughlin's quote got left out of the original transcription. I wrote talking about McLaughlin has a turf toe is why he only played one play yesterday. But I also added the 10 transfers, 5 of them I'm talking about on defense now, just 10 on defense. 5 of them started yesterday, and basically 6 because Keon Stewart came in on the second play of the game and played the distance. But you've got 10 transfers on defense, Jason. I don't know where that defense would be right now without those guys. You had Walcott, you had Snacks, you had Jaheim Singletary. You had Jeffcoat. You had Jaheim Thomas. All started. That's 5. Keon Stewart comes in and plays almost immediately. That's 6. You had Booker and Kiwi Rose on the defensive. Morgan on the defensive line. That's 9. And Antonio Greer. Antonio Greer had the pick 6.
The pick 6.
Transfers on defense, and man, they all played and all contributed in a big way. And whether they're starting or not, all like Antonio, he didn't start. What does he do? He comes in pick 6. I mean, and second linebacker in 2 games to get a pick 6. So I mean, that's impressive. And it's not the star. It's not Poopaw. It's not Jaheim Thomas. It's not Jordan Crook. It's it's Greer and and then the freshmen. So I mean, it's impressive that they're able to do that, Jason. And I don't know where this defense would be without those 10 transfers.
Yeah, this is what Jaheim Thomas had to say about your question yesterday and post game.
And work, like we've been working all camp, all summer for this. So just being able to come in and gel together, being able to push each other, push all of us, I feel like that's really helping us and just really helping us continue to grow as a defense.
Yeah, we a family. So when I came in, when Jaheim came in, everybody welcomed us with open arms. So when we had that companionship, we just want to play hard for each other. So that's definitely a big thing for everyone.
That's 2 studs right there, man.
Yeah, it is.
Tree and Jaheim. I mean, I love watching Jaheim play. I didn't get to see him play in Cincinnati, for Cincinnati against Arkansas last year, but I really have been impressed with him. I was impressed in other games he played that I saw him play, but he's really come on. Jeffcoat's impressed me since COVID year. He's impressed me since he's been in Missouri. I thought he might come to Arkansas last year. They really recruited him. A lot of people don't know that. But last year he went in the portal and went back to Missouri. But Arkansas recruited the heck out of him last year. And they almost got him then. And but so I think he regrets he didn't come then. He really likes Arkansas. But I'm really impressed with these transfers. And I like the ones you haven't seen Jacoby, what he can do yet. You saw him against Western Carolina, but and then Armstrong and Tesla and Broden at receiver, Barquise gone, Francis Sherman at tight end. So they've gotten Josh Brown on offensive line. You've got transfers on both sides of the ball, but I'm really impressed with how Arkansas gets these kids and they make impact. Well, that was not a good question. I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, it's a good answer for this guy because to come in and jail like that, because not all of them were here at midterm on defense, Jason. Yeah. Some of them came in the summer in June. And so they came in and they've jailed. I think Kiwi may have gotten here in late June, actually, too. I mean, right.
Yeah, he was here at the very end of June. I think Alex Sanford was the last.
And these guys have come in and they've jailed as a unit with with the Zach Williams, with the Poopaws, with the Crooks, with the Dwight McLaughlin's, with the Hudson Clarks, whoever, Jashad Stewart's, Eric Gregory's, Tarian Carter. So they gelled, and that's credit to Travis Williams, Charles Woods, Coach Woodson, Marcus Woodson, not Charles. I hadn't done that in a while. Darren Wilson and Deke Adams. It's been a while since I called him Charles Woodson. But Marcus Woodson, and he's a great coach, man. He recruited Tay. He recruited Selman Bridges. That guy's a machine.
Yeah. Let's think ahead.
Talking about, but telling the truth, man. Marcus Woodson is a heck of a coach.
He is. Let's look ahead to BYU. They're going to come in to Razorback Stadium at 6:30 on ESPN2 this coming Saturday. One of the things that I talked to Drake Purdy about yesterday in postgame was you've had 2 early games for the first of the season. Now you have the real Razorback stadium effect where you're going to have tailgating all day long. It's going to be cool. It's going to be at night. You got a national television, nationally televised game. It always feels like the air is just a little bit different in Razorback Stadium when something like this happens, where you have all of those components put into one game.
Oh, yeah. And I like day games. I don't like night games. I mean, but the atmosphere and the fans love night games. I like the day games simply because I can talk to Christy more, but that's being selfish on my part. But no, I honestly, I don't care what time the games are, but I like day game. But the night games, if the atmosphere is great and it's 6:30, not even 6, it should be wild Saturday night. And it's good because they can get a few more recruits here for a night game than they can a day game, Jason. And after not being able to break any recruits to Little Rock, I know Grayson and Marcus and some of those kids paid for a ticket and went on their own. I get that, but they can't go to now they can host recruits, and they will, and it'll be the last chance for a while because the next time they'll be in
month
Dallas.
Off.
Yeah, you're gonna be on the road quite a bit. But even the ones in Dallas that they can they can't talk to them down there, so they can talk to them here, and this is gonna be a good opportunity. And I know Jackson Cantwell, Cash Archer, Kane Archer, some of these kids will be here Saturday to watch the game. Some of these key 26 targets. I know Cash is 25, but Kane and Cantwell are key 26 targets. But the atmosphere is great, and it gives you a chance to get recruits. And if you got a great atmosphere, it's good for the recruits to see. It is. It's good for recruiting. So, and there'll be a tight end from Ohio. It was at Miami this past weekend. Miami had the impressive win over Texas A&M and Bobby and Jimbo. But he'll be here Saturday. There are going to be a lot of recruits here Saturday. It's going to be an impressive deal. You hope Arkansas plays well. It'll help them in recruiting. It'll help them, obviously, in the standings. Because, not necessarily standings because it's non-conference game, but when I say standings, I mean with the record. You're 3-0 heading into this brutal 4-game stretch of road games. You go to LSU, you play A&M in Dallas, you go to Ole Miss, you go to Alabama. So you got a 4-game stretch here that's coming up. You want to be 3-0 going into that. You had to be 3-0. And I've said one thing I've maintained all through this deal, they've got 7 home games. They really need to win all those. And then you take your chances on these road games. And turns out LSU and Alabama are great, but they may not be as good as everybody thought they were. Me, as good as Otis Kirk thought they were. Those are not necessarily automatic losses. I was kind of chalking those up as automatic. And I think they'll probably win or lose. But I'm just saying, I mean, those teams have shown they're human.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was listening to Eli Gold last night on the way home, and just listening to him describe how that whole the end of the third quarter and most of the fourth quarter was unfolding. It was something that you didn't usually see from an Alabama team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that Sam Pittman has got some terrible practices that he could put some guys through, but I'm going to tell you what, I do not want to be on that practice field with Nick Saban on this week at any day.
But I think he's got quarterback problems, Jason. I mean, I saw Milroe. He came in against Arkansas when Bryce Young got hurt last year. Jaden Milroe's the quarterback that came in against Arkansas. And had they called that chokehold on Jordan Dominic, that on Dominic out there that would have set Alabama back to their goal line on 4th down, and they ignored the call. And so Alabama went on, and that game could have been interesting. I'm not impressed with Milroe. I didn't think I got home in time to watch the 4th quarter. I don't know if I watched all. I don't know if I got to see all of it. I got to see quite a bit of the 4th quarter. I think most of it last night. Their defense is so, but their quarterback play is just not what it's been. They don't have a Heisman Trophy quarterback like they've had recently. They're human. I mean, I'm telling you, Alabama's average is a little bit above average on defense, and their quarterback is average at best.
You might see Ty Simpson.
Huh?
You might end up seeing Ty Simpson before it's all said and done this coming week, too, because there might be a quarterback battle now.
They may be, but I'm going to tell you, when Arkansas plays Alabama, Arkansas will have the better quarterback of the two.
Oh,
and you can always say that when you play Alabama. They've had Heisman Trophy winners there. When Arkansas plays them, assuming KJ is healthy, Arkansas will have the better quarterback of the two. Doesn't mean they'll win, but they will have the better quarterback of the two. But I'm telling you, when you go into a game and you've got the better quarterback of the two teams, that's a step up place to start, man.
Yeah, that's a leg up on competition.
Yeah. In Arkansas, and that's the first time in a while you can say that about Arkansas and Alabama. I'm not a Milroe fan. I saw him against Arkansas last year. I saw him in a couple of games after that, or a game or two here and there. And as I said, I watched the game last night, and it certainly wasn't all on him. But Alabama is human, I'm telling you. And then Florida State beat LSU to prove they're human. So I mean, Arkansas has still got a daunting 4-game task coming up after BYU, but really 5 games, because I'm telling you, that Mississippi State game, if there was ever a trap game, God, that's after 7 games. It's a week before the bye week. You're playing a Mississippi State team. You're at your 8th game. You know, that's a trap game if there was ever one. But so you've really got a 5-game stretch coming up. 6 counting BYU. That, you know, I'll put it this way, how well they do in these next 6 games may determine how the season is. It a good season, bad season, great season, decent season? What is it going to be, Jason? And I think these next 6 games may determine that.
It will. Well, Otis,
Missouri and stuff, you still got them, Jason. But I'm just telling you, man, these next 6 games are going to determine, going into that bye week, you should know where Arkansas, if they could go to that bye week 7-1, 6-2, they're going to be in really good shape, man.
They will, because then you're looking at a Mississippi State. You're also looking at Florida.
Well, that's after Mississippi State, because you're looking at Florida, you're looking at Auburn, Florida International, and Missouri. That's the last 4 games. So you get into that bye week 6-2, 7-1, you're sitting in really good shape. You still got to play those teams. I mean, Florida, Auburn, Missouri are not automatic wins by any stretch. But I'm just telling you, this 6-game stretch coming up is going to determine the extent of Arkansas season, whether it's great, bad, decent, average, so-so, whatever, good, bad, whatever.
Gotcha. Well, everybody, thank you for jumping on today. I got to get out of here real quick. I got to flip this thing around because Dudley's going to be on at 4. He's going to be talking a little bit of Razorback baseball. We're going to see kind of what he's got reported from the scrimmages that he's been at this weekend. And we'll be back here with you guys next Saturday after the game. That's going to be a late one, but that's okay. We'll still be with you here. So if you guys want to jump on with us, we'll be right there with you. And Otis, thanks again for jumping on. And again, y'all, thank you.
Appreciate you, Jason. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for everything you do.
I appreciate that. Yep. We're just going to keep plugging away, and we'll see you guys next week after BYU.
Do a great job, man. Appreciate you. I really do. Thank you.
Yep.